is just pointing to 58 are completed in the period, but 4 of them came in. Now, you might ask yourself, what about that 30%? What about that 60%, right? That comes in later, and this is one, I guess, the tricky parts about this chapter is I'm going to go back real quick here, and let's look. Okay, this has to do, it is important, but they didn't ask the question that dealt with the 30%. This is conversion cost. Okay, and this right here is conversion cost. And there we go. Well, my pen on the edge of what my pen will do here. Okay, so we come back over. Here's the assumption. Let me add this back. And we are assuming, and this is what you should assume for these problems. Assume 100% of material is added at the beginning of the process. Okay, so if we're in a factory, you know, and here's the kind of the conveyor belt, and we're all sitting here working, there's lights in the factory here, kind of shining down. That's part of overhead, and then here we are, each of us on the assembly line. Okay, and so we're part of the labor. The assumption is in the process, here's the material, and if we begin the product, if we begin assembling it, we have 100% of the material that we need at the beginning. So these 4,000 units, since they were begun in the month before, we have to add 0 material to them. Okay. These started and completed, we add 100% this month because they're started this month. So we get the material in this month. And these, even though we didn't finish them, material-wise, they're 100%. We get to count them because 100% of the materials are present when they get started. Okay, equivalent units for conversion costs. To compute equivalent units for conversion costs, it's necessary to know how direct labor and factory overhead enter the manufacturing products. Okay, so we are now going to deal with these conversion costs. And for what we're going to do, that means we're going to deal with percentages. Okay, let's take a look. All right, inventory process, beginning of July, 70% complete. So basically there's 5,000 units. They came to a 70% complete. So conversion costs, we only need to do 30% of the work. So equivalent units, in July, we only did 1,500 units equivalent. That's how much work we did on these. And when you do it this way, it begins to make more sense why we deal with equivalent units. Because on paper, it looks like we repped out 5,000 units if we were just measuring whole units. And we really did the work on about what would have been 1,500 units because we only did 30% of the work to complete these. Okay, started and completed in July. Hang on, I need to adjust something here. And sorry, stand by. All right, started and completed in July, 57,000, and we did 100% of the work on these because we were able to start them and complete them. The whole process was done, so 100% of the conversion costs were completed. And transferred out to packaging. Well, as you can see, it looks like we got credit for 62,000. We really did the work of about 58.5 because some of these were started last month. In process inventory in July 1st, 25% complete. We start these 3,000 units, but as far as conversion costs, we only put 25% of the work in, so we only did about 750 equivalent work. Okay, total gallons to be assigned costs. Under whole units, it would have been 65. Under equivalent units, is really we did the work of about 59,250. Okay. Hang on one more second. Sorry, I'm so distracted trying to do a couple things at once here. The bottling department of Rocky Springs Beverage Company has 4,000 liters in beginning working process. They're 30% complete. During the period, 58,000 are completed. The ending working process was 3. What was the total? All right, this looks pretty familiar. As a matter of fact, I think we've written these numbers down before, but just to write them down one more time. So in the beginning, we had 4,000 units. We'll get credit for those as far as whole units go, but really they're only 30% complete. They're already 30% complete, so we only have to do 70% of the work to get those done. We're going to complete 58,000 total units. 54 of those, obviously, we start and complete in this period. So 54 are started and completed, so we do 100% of those. And then 3,000, we're going to do 60% of the work. So, okay, let's take a look on the next page, and here's what it looks like. There's 4,000 units. We're going to do 70% of the work on those, so we really do the work of 28. 54,000 units started and completed. Remember, it tells you that we repped out 58. 4 of them came into us, already worked on. We did 54 on our own, 100% of that. And then 3,000, we do 60% of the work on. And so right here, whole units, we get credit for 61, but we really did about 58,600. Okay. All right. Cost per equivalent unit. Let's take a look at the formula. Basically, direct material cost per equivalent unit is equal to your total direct material cost for the period divided by the number of equivalent units that you did. This is where we can begin to do the apples to apples comparison. And so let's take a look. Conversion cost per equivalent unit, same formula, basically, just total conversion cost per period divided by total equivalent units. And it's this common base right here that allows us to make comparisons. So determine the cost per equivalent unit. Equivalent units from step 2. All right, here we go. So inventory in process on July 1st. We have 0 direct materials and $1,500 conversion costs. Started and completed in July, 62. So inventory in process, again, just remember direct materials is 0 because if it was in process, then we did 100% of those materials in June. So 0 are added in July. But we did add 1,500 conversion costs to those. Started and completed, well, that's 62,000 minus the 5 leaves us 57 started and completed. Transferred out to packaging, that's just math right there. Inventory process, July 31st, we did 100% of the materials we put into these 3,000, but we only did part, like a little part of the labor. So only $750 worth of labor on those and overhead. And so total gallons to be assigned costs. Direct materials, we want to assign the cost to 60,000. We put 60,000 units of direct material into this month. We only put about $59,250 of conversion costs into the, I'm sorry, $59,250 of conversion costs. Not costs, units. Say it right. We did 60,000 units as far as materials go. We did 59,250 units as far as conversion costs go, equivalently. Now let's figure the cost per unit. Okay, so we had $66,000 of direct material costs. We did 60,000 units, $1.10 per gallon. We had 17,775 worth of conversion costs. We only did 59,250 gallons, equivalent gallons as far as conversion. So it's 30 cents per gallon.